Good morning, baby dolls. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's that pretty much sums it up. Pretty much sums it up. Got a lot more to get into, but boy, I felt compelled to come out here and talk about some things from time to time. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. By the way, you get my morning voice. Good morning out there, everyone who's in America at least. It is definitely morning time. Shout out to our UK and Australian friends as well, all the Hexicans out there. But you get the morning voice. Hopefully, it gets a little bit better. I'm just trying to digest a little bit myself, and we'll get into: is he back? Is the king back? What is this 14,000x? All that stuff. I'm gonna have some coffee as well. Awesome. Ex Lotus as well to the UK. Been to UK for a long time. Hope to visit again one day. Yeah, I'll say out to the chat. Let everyone pile in here. Tavion Brooks, how's it going? Yep. This can be an eye-opening episode if you haven't been following Richard's 50,000 tweets lately. UFOs landed. Also said a lot of nice things in the comments. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Also likes Go Real DeFi. A fan of Go Real DeFi. I am a fan of Go Real DeFi as well. Duke's here. How's it going? I'll get to some more in the chat in a bit. But what's up, Kincaid Honey, MZ? Yeah, let me get started though here. All right, Richard Hart. Wow, he went from tweeting 1 to 2 times per week to seemingly 5 times a day or something now. Wow, it's crazy. Yeah, for months it was like, man, if we got like 1 or 2 tweets per week, I think usually like 1 tweet, he was like, okay, I gotta say something. And then we're debating, what if he goes silent? What if he goes silent for a couple weeks? Is that concerning? And now it's literally like unfiltered. It reminds me of the South Park episode where they plug Twitter up to their brain and it just like tweets whatever he says. That was a great South Park episode, by the way. Pretty funny. Let's hope it doesn't, because that was kind of like a toilet bowl, as Big Pep may say. Toilet bowl, Elon's toilet bowl type of situation, but pretty crazy. A lot of EHEX stuff here. A lot of pushing back against his wielding the influence over EHEX and apparently the price chart as well. Goes with both ways, right? It's like you got a founder who wants to pump your coins to the moon, and if he switches priority completely from one coin to the other 4, and you don't like it and tweet at him, apparently he will respond. A lot of these are like literally directed to people, just criticizing the move that heavily deprioritizes EHEX. Let's say it that way. But is he back? That's the question too. I think so. And I will say this. Okay, let me bring up the tweet where I was like, okay, now it's starting to make sense. So this one. Yeah. Exlo says, yeah, the shots tweets in all caps. Yeah. I'm like, wow. Okay. All caps, it's back. So this one from March 6th. So this is a week or so ago. A week to the day, I guess. 6 plus 7 equals 13 on my side of the pond. So y'all, how have many months of humble Richard been? No selfies with expensive goods, no exotic cars, quite little bragging. And then from there, if we just scroll down, I wish I just had like a button that just would count all these tweets. Maybe on Lunar Crush it does. I was thinking about pulling up some stats beforehand, but I didn't Didn't get around to it this morning because it's so early my time, and I knew I was doing the stream, so I was like, oh, okay, I'll wake up early. And I woke up too early, actually. And then I went down some other rabbit holes. But since March 6th, that's got to be 50 tweets since then. But ever since then, it's just been kind of like, bring your heroes here to die, bring your bags here to pump. Let's effing go. That's that Vitalik meme where they did the fake one where they put his voice on some dog coin thing. I think I can't remember what it was. Pretty funny though. But yeah, we got some all caps. We got some idiots or stupid things. I don't know, man. I do wish these scam bots would go away though. It is really annoying. Literally, he's been putting in every post. This is the last one. Scams appear under here. People still click them. It is hard to believe that they do look pretty real, but at the same time, I guess you should go into Twitter thinking that everything here, if it doesn't start in the first thread and it's anywhere else down the thread that's completely off topic, maybe it's the way timelines are arranged and stuff too. But I don't know. I think an assumed scam by default mindset would be helpful here. Because some people can look at it and be like, okay, obviously, I would never click on that. And then some people just, they are less apt on the tech side. So pretty crazy. But yeah, the scam stuff sucks. But there's just, a lot of pushback against his decision to proclaim what the market says, as he would say. On the hex side, I've talked about eHex a lot the last few days, so you all should know, based on the streams I've done, my opinion on the situation. It hasn't really changed. I got to see a lot of takes from it, but it hasn't really changed as far as that goes. I want to get into a few of some of the interesting tweets too. And I don't have a lot of time this morning. If you got questions, put them in. I'm not sure if I'll get to them, but I'll try to look at chat here in a minute. So I think this was an interesting one. So he says, this is March 12th. The part of the reason Hex is doing as well as it is, Hart's Law, since most of the liquidity is in PLS. PLS is doing great. It gets a free ride up. So this is, to me, when I was thinking about this, I was like, okay, is he saying that regardless of what happens? So Hex thing, again, I've explained, I believe it's a sacrifice. I think it was just a necessary thing because he wants everything to pump more. He wants to avoid Ethereum. He wants to funnel everything in the PulseChain, all that. Yeah, gas fees are one thing and stuff too, but it's more about PulseChain. I think this is just a move for PulseChain. And eHex just happened to be, the fifth man out type of thing, I guess. So I guess the silver lining here is the liquidity bonding. And, I think, again, a lot of people are frustrated and stuff short term, but I think this is another thing that is building up PulseChain, and PulseChain can bring everything else along with it, especially if you got, whoever you want to call them, the formerly world's largest DAI holder, Mega Ethereum Well, Sack Daddy OA, whatever you want to call them. That entity is buying Hex on PulseChain, of course, PulseX, and Ink. So maybe they'll lock it up for more supply or less supply around. Maybe they think price will go up and they want to make it happen. Bootstrap, perpetual theories, all that stuff too. So I think the silver lining here is that regardless in the short term of all the volatility or people not buying Hex or losing faith or whatever it is, you got whales buying Hex, historically. And why would that stop happening? I've only heard people say that it will keep happening. It will continue happening. Why would it not? Why would it not continue happening? That sort of thing. So maybe there's some solace as far as, if you separate the EHEX, whether you like EHEX or not type of thing, if you just think about, okay, what is Hex's future? Why is it Hex going up as much as Pulse and PulseX and Ink and stuff? Well, if nothing else, we get the free ride up theory right here from a guy who knows a lot of theories. So that piece I thought was pretty interesting as far as just going through some of the notable tweets. He made a lot of tweets, but most of them have just been about yelling about EX stuff. So, which I think is less interesting than some of the nuggets here. Trying to bring you the nuggets, trying to bring you the good information. So this one, yeah, just get that chat real quick. Jack XY, I lost a ton of respect for RH. His position way weaker than most thought. He just screwed up a bunch of ETH users, especially outside of, like I said, it's a sacrifice. I think he knows that, of course, there's a blowback. Of course, there's people who are building on EHEX and place their bets in that direction and stuff. I commented on himself. I'm like, hey, I like to see people rewarded for betting on Hex one way or another, putting their time, capital, energy into Hex, building on it, all that stuff too. But I also trust his judgment. Am I going to bet against his judgment? Why would I? I mean, like, what benefit is there betting against that? I mean, this is the guy. If you believe he is billionaire genius founder guy, no matter if you disagree with some of the decisions or don't understand it or confused or whatever, I'm with you. I get it. Like, it is easy to be confused. It is easy to be annoyed or frustrated and not understand different stuff. I agree with that. But at the same time, I'm not betting against him. No way. No way. And it's not some sort of like, it's not, you don't have to, deify a person or treat them like a god or or pretend like they never make mistakes or whatever. Criticize Richard before as well, constructively, of course. That's the only way I prefer to criticize people. So like I said, I mean, the effects are the effects. Yeah, people who bet solely on EHEX, the price is down. And I don't know if it's going to, like I said, my personal feelings is be a deeper discount. I wouldn't be surprised if there would be a deeper discount than they were before. I don't think it's going to zero, but do I think the price is going to go up as much as everything else? I mean, I don't think anyone's betting in that direction from what I've seen. So it's just one of those things. It's okay. Let me pull this up. We're going to take a quick side note. So it's going to pull this up too. I thought this is interesting to look at the 5 stages of the Kubler-Ross change curve model. So first, shock and denial. I feel like that's what a lot of people are expressing still at the moment, or they may have already moved on to the anger phase. I'm not sure. Are we in bargaining? Are we in bargaining? Are we between anger and bargaining? Which one? I'm not sure yet. Somewhere through here. So it's kind of like, why'd this have to happen? It's like, you did this. You made price go down for me. And, I say this again. I understand. People's, if you bet on EHEX, it is. But again, did you only bet on, I'm just speaking in general, like not to anyone in particular, but did I only bet on EHEX, for example? Like, besides being a first principles thinker, like, and trusting Richard's judgment, like, why aren't I super upset or frustrated about it? I literally have, I think the first 2 streams I did, I was still kind of like working it out. I was like, this kind of sucks. I don't like it, but whatever, we'll move on. After that, even my first reaction was like, okay, well, whatever. And it's not because I don't own Hex or EHEX. It's just like, I mean, if you own all the RH coins, think of the worst case scenario. If you own them all, were you that heavy EHEX? Or did you have more Pulse or PulseX or PX and stuff? And if you got it at the fork, you had as much. I mean, you can't blame things changing on, everyone's making their own decision at the keyboard here too. If you were super long EX and you traded all the other coins for EX, and I mean, that was just everyone makes their own decision there. There's no one to blame. It's same thing could have happened with anything else as far as that goes. So that's just about portfolio management and everything else. Anyways, anger bargaining, depression. Yeah, this is maybe at the point where everyone's like, okay, I've dealt with it. This sucks. Or I don't like this place. I'm going to take a break from Twitter. And it's totally fine to take a break from social media, take a break from whatever. If I am well positioned, what else do I need to do? What do I need to react to? If I believe I'm in a bull market and the prices are going to go up and I've got my bags, what else do I need to do? I treat trading as pretty optional when I've got my positions set already. It's just the way I think about it. Again, I feel for everyone who lost money on EX. I watched my 2 streams on EX, the emergency hex stream and the sacrifice part 2. If you want some me feeling for everyone out there, I talk about that there. But acceptance, I've shortcutted everything. I guess I have. I kind of just went from shock and denial to acceptance. I think I was like, I can't change it. I'm just going to accept it. Yeah, I mean, I mostly feel for everyone else. I didn't build a bunch of products on EX. I'm not 90% EX and 10% all the other H coins. So I think the people that I wish would have benefited more, or wouldn't have, we don't know what's going to do. Again, EX could go up, it could go down, it could stay sideways for a while, it could go up. We don't know what's going to do. We know it doesn't have the support of RH anymore, that sort of thing. So if you believe that that's the reason it'll go up in the future, then I guess you would price that in. But a lot of people still like EX. So I don't know. I think there's plenty of reasons to be positive, even in light of this. Plenty of reasons out there. If you want to find them, that's a different story. But plenty of reasons to be positive. And the new people who got onboarded into EX and took big positions in them and didn't, I always talk about before 60-40, cheapest T-shares, 60-40. I don't like anyone getting, not rewarded for doing cheapest T-shares. I think that was, for me, that was kind of like a wholesome, good, for myself, like that seemed like a reasonable judgment. So that sucks, but things happen. So things that suck happen. So for me, I think acceptance is, nothing I can change about it. I think Hex on PulseChain is just going to dominate now. It's just my personal opinion. And I don't think EX is going to zero. I think there'll still be a community, maybe like a sub community. But I don't want people to, again, that's what I want to talk about. This. I want to talk about it. I can talk about this thing for like 30 minutes. And it's like, I don't know who I'm helping by going through this again. I've already went through it before, but I just hope the community doesn't just take this as like another thing to disagree about and like, oh, I don't like this person because they I want to make sure, I want to be the one who forces everyone in this direction, whatever direction that is. Like, I hope everyone's able to get along and still be cool about this stuff. Because there's way so many things to be happy about and not worry about than that. Did I post this when I click on it? I can't remember. Anyways. Whoa, Dinkin Upgrade Live. Nice. Shout out to Ethereum. Are the gas fees cheaper now? I don't know. I don't think this is, I'm not sure how big of update this is going to going to make for Ethereum. I think this is one step. I'm not sure we'll see significant lower gas fees, especially in a bull market where you just got that much more demand. But the one next year, if that happens next year, if they do actually Denk sharding, I think Dinkin is, is it proto Denk sharding? It's like one step, maybe helpful to L2s and stuff like that. I can't remember exactly, but this is like one baby step. There's like 2 or 3 steps to get gas fees much cheaper, and a lot of other improvements too. This is just the first one, so I don't expect a whole lot out of this one. I'm just wondering if PulseChain is going to take it. So, been talking about that a little bit as well. Collins Crypto, RH just nuked the entire ecosystem. Why would anyone buy after this responsibility and think about stakers? Says RH hate those guys. I don't think he nuked the entire ecosystem. I think he just wants to funnel things into PulseChain and stop supporting Ethereum stuff. So the stakers on PulseChain, I don't imagine they lost a lot of confidence. Maybe people don't stake on Ethereum as much, but it's still a coin. It's still a DeFi coin. I mean, maybe we see shorter stakes or actually, or longer stakes. Didn't I make the case for longer stakes yesterday or so? I was like, maybe there's even longer stakes because people believe gas fees will be cheaper in the future and the community will still be around and there'll still be a chart and there's still a market and there's still liquidity. I don't know. I think EX will be around until there's no liquidity, right? Some form of that. But I don't think he nuked the entire ecosystem. I think he woke it up. I think people are awake now. I think crypto's awake and I think Hexkins are awake because they're, let me check my portfolio. How much EHEX did I have? That sort of thing. What do I do? Do I keep it or do I get rid of it? All that stuff. So certainly, I don't think he nuked it. I think he made a sacrifice. And I explained that in my previous streams. All right. I know if I start talking about it, I'll just talk about it for a long time. Let's see. Go to wrap up here in a few minutes. Bring up this one. So, okay, that's the one I brought up. I think this is probably the biggest problem we got to overcome. So Art's talking here. If you guys are tired of idiots posting the EHEX chart as though it were Hex, you could let the ranking sites know that it's Hex on a period. Hex on PulseChain has been called Hex for 9 months now and is where the liquidity is and where everything is going. So that's the biggest problem is, I've super chatted other crypto streamers and asked them about Hex and PulseChain and stuff. And I would say a very good portion of the time, if not most of the time, if you ask them about Hex, they always nobody uses, Deck Screener. And the general crypto community, they don't know anything about DeFi. They just know CoinMarketCap. They know TradingView at best. They're all the TA on there. Oh, that's fine. It's just a different sector. But if you ask them about, I can't even think about asking them to pull up a Hex chart because I know they're not going to go to Deck Screener. Even if I tell them to go to Deck Screener, they're just not comfortable doing that. They're going to go to TradingView and they're going to see the EHEX chart and they're going to read it for what it is. And if it doesn't go anywhere, it's just always going to look that way. And the ranking sites, some of them still, I think Coin Paprika still says Hex is the Hex on Ethereum and Hex on PulseChain is the different one. So maybe we can fix that one. But that's the thing about these centralized sites and all this. We got to put on all this effort to change over. It is a sacrifice. It is this is not easy. How do we can't even get them to give us the real information, the good information half the time. They don't even, ranking 201, all this stuff. How are we possibly ever going to ask people to pull up a chart without directing them to the place with good information that is not going to be nearly as popular as all the sites they've already used before and they're going to Google search for all this stuff? Do we just need to somehow get Google to rank the other sites higher? That's going to take some time. Nobody we're going to have a hard time getting general crypto people to get in it, because they're going to search for it and they're going to see that. So what are the options? A slow grind of trying to get, again, asking the ranking sites to change this stuff. Like, what are people going to do? Do that? Or they're just going to promote PulseChain a lot and then say, okay, now on PulseChain, if you know where to find coins, you can find hex through there. I don't know what the right solution is. It's just it's a ton of work, and I don't even know if we'll even be able to change half of them, half the major sites. If we even change half the major sites, it's just going to be confusing then. Like, one site's going to say something different than another site. It's a mess. So that's why I wish we didn't have to deal with it, because it's just so messy. It's not even about effort. It's like, yeah, we feel, even if our top people put all the effort into it, and whatever it is, like, we're still at the mercy of them actually listening and actually doing it, which is why we did PulseChain, right? Get away from the gatekeeping. So that's a hard problem. I'm not sure we have an answer to. So I'll pull up two more, and I'll get to the one thumbnail in the title. So that's the other thing I brought up too, is like, yeah, it'd be nice to know all this stuff sooner. And this is, I guess, Richard's in general response to people wishing they would know sooner about this, not migration, just letting the market decide, I guess. Predict the future is hard. No one knew for certain hex would be worth more than hex. Liquidity would, it seems, moving entirely to PulseChain. Nor could it know for certain gas fees staying, but it's a possibility. Yeah, I think it's a big possibility. I think it's I don't even know how to get into this one. It's like, I guess there's some point to letting the market wait and figure this stuff out, but I don't know. I still think June of last year, when the tweet came up, when the markets decided tweet, that could have been the time where it's like, okay, that seemed like the time before the next bull market, before we see that. Like I said, it just sucks to see everyone who's building on hex and ehex or px or whatever. I want them to be rewarded, but Richard's a guy. He is the guy. So get to one more, and I have not looked at comments for a while. Get to one more before I wrap up. So this one. So this is the 14,000X one that I was very interested in last night. And I couldn't remember, this sounded familiar, but I really couldn't remember him saying it. So yeah, if you're worried about the PulseChain going up 14,000X in price and how much it costs in a hex stake, hypothetically, you get $1 Pulse to afford the $14,000 fees later. It's funny to me when people use the idea to try and attack PLS, the price might go up too much. So mostly what you're going to pay attention to this, of course, I mean, to me, this is like a subtle shill of could PulseChain do what Hex did, but even better, right? But then, really what this is about is, if you're worried about gas fees going up, it's a good problem to have, which, we talked about before as well. And the context of this, people suggesting that, if the reason to get rid of eHex is the gas fees and all that stuff, well, first of all, I mean, we have stake pools and stuff like that to solve it too, with Maximus and otherwise. And then won't PulseChain have the same problem? And then he's pointing out, well, good, kind of good problem to have. But the thing about this one that I talked about, that I tweeted about too, was, so last night I saw this and I was like, did he ever talk about this before? So I searched Twitter. Twitter's not great for searching stuff, by the way, but I hadn't seen him, that's all it came up with, right? And then I was like, let me search some more this morning and just let me see, like, I wonder if anyone else talked about this or anyone else mentioned it. And he does, in fact, say it in the video. He talked about that. And then he references, oh, yeah, that's when, because he said Ethereum went up 14,000x. So why couldn't PulseChain do that? Because it's better, all this stuff. So actually, he did talk about it before, just maybe not on Twitter. Again, I'm not trusting Twitter search that much because it just doesn't find stuff it should obviously find sometimes. So slight correction or slight clarification, I guess, is he has talked about it before. Yeah, I explained it here though. He has talked about it before on streams, but I don't think he has on Twitter. Again, someone add a reference if they've seen that before too. And then when I was coming across that, I was like, wait. When I searched 14,000x and PulseChain, I see from Ran, Crypto Man Ran. I didn't even realize that when PulseChain launched, he did a show and he named the show why PulseChain could be a 14,000x trade. And if you go to the 21-minute mark, he talks. I mean, he says some very nice things about Richard and all this stuff. So I recommend you check this out. And so everyone's like, oh, Rand pops the bubbles and all that. Yeah, he does stuff like that. But also, I mean, this guy, back then when it launched, he get a lot of good coverage. And, maybe now he's just waiting on some bigger bubbles to do some more, to literally name the title of the show, this type of stuff. So I was wondering, yeah, like all the pinup demand and PulseChain launch and all this stuff, we had to get a lot of people, a lot of eyeballs on it when, one of the biggest YouTubers names an entire show after it and then does a pretty big segment on it. So if we pump those numbers up, maybe he'll do another segment. Ash, is any of this EX crap going to matter at 46? That is it's quite a large number on the pulse there. Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's like in 6 months, is any of this really going to matter other than the stuff being built on it? Are they, that's the only thing that sucks. Like if there's products built on EX and they're less valuable, or again, you can make a case they're more valuable, like especially the stake pool stuff. It's like, okay, well, now to really, maximize the yield and maximize the, if we believe gas fees are going to be expensive or, you want to push it out longer or whatever it is. Now maybe it's even more important. You can make a case for that. But again, I guess the overall thing is if Hex dominates, Hex on PulseChain dominates, and EHEX becomes just a sub community instead of the main community, which I mean, basically Richard removed it, right? He removed it from, there was 5 coins. He talked about this, talked about the five RH coins. There was, of course, the 2 hexes, PulseX, and Ink. And it appears, at least for him, now there's 4. So in his opinion, again, the market will decide. But boy, it's been interesting. And the ramifications of that, and no doubt a sacrifice, not a win-win situation in the short term. But again, if Pulse goes up, if Pulse does 100x, everything else does 100x. If those 4 coins, if Pulse, PulseX, Ink, and Hex, all those coins on PulseChain, if they do 100x, do you think, I mean, if an EHEX goes sideways, does anyone just own EHEX? Like, that's the other question. It's like, I understand all this stuff. Like, I get, like, sucks, it's going away, all this stuff, or it's been deprioritized, devalued, price went down. I get it. Does anyone just own EHEX? Like, that seems to be the people who would be most affected by this. If you just own EHEX. I don't think I've met anyone who told me they just own EHEX. And now we have new onboarded people. If they onboarded and they chose EHEX over PX, yeah, that sucks. But I wouldn't. Yeah, I think there's less people that are truly affected by this than it appears. I would say, and again, the people affected by it, it sucks. I feel for you. I'm just saying, like, all this stuff, if you have Pulse, you have PulseX, you have other RH coins, and they go up 100x, if that happens, are we still be talking about EHEX and how it's unfair and, you know, all that stuff in 6 months? I'm not sure. I think there'll be more interesting stuff. A lot of interesting stuff going on that may be like, oh, okay, that EHEX thing, that sucked. That was not fun. But look, everything else is going up. And maybe, who knows, again, maybe EHEX goes up too. Maybe if everything else goes up 100x, what if EHEX goes up 20x or 30x or 10x? Like, what is the level that is like okay and I don't know. Anyways, that's all I got. I will be back later today with Jesse. Just Ask Jesse. We'll be talking about PulseX and Power City, and that should be a really good show. But that's I think that's all I want to cover this morning. And yeah, I think crypto is wide awake. Hexkins are wide awake. Ripping off the Band-Aid was a sacrifice. There's not a lot of winning in it short term. However, I will continue delaying gratification, focus on moving forward rather than wallowing in the that thing that happened. I can't, you know, I didn't like it and I can't go back. Lots of more cool stuff to do. So, yeah, hope everyone's doing okay out there. See you all for the next show. And thanks again for joining me this morning. Scivive and 5555. We are out.